They need me to begin with ancient wisdom or mysterious secrets. But I'll tell you something different the other day. I witnessed a child try to catch water in his fists. The tighter he gripped, the less he held. Without even knowing it, this child understood more about actual power than most masters have met. You see, I have watched men breaking their hands on wooden boards, assuming that all broken piece serves as proof of their strength. I did the same, broke. The boards won. The fights chased after faster kicks and harder punches. The world saw perfection. I experienced emptiness. Here's what no one tells you about mastery. The moment you think you've achieved it is the moment you've lost it. I learned this the hard way, not in a temple or training hall, but in my all-time moment of pride, when I thought I had nothing more to learn. Tell me about that day. But listen, first understand this. What I'm going to share isn't martial arts, it's about the lie. We tell ourselves about power, about victory, about what it means to be strong. A lie, I think, lived until it almost ruined everything I'd created. I remember my first day at Master Arman School, 16 years old, thinking I knew what strength was because I could win street fights in Hong Kong. I walked in ready to prove myself. Instead, I ended up flat on my back again, not from force, but from something. I couldn't even see the other students whisper to me that I was gifted, that I was able to learn earlier than all others. What they couldn't see were the nights I punched water in a bucket until knuckles bled, thinking pain was the way to power. I trained until my body cursed for thinking that fatigue was somehow proof of improvement. Everyone around me, he'd idolized power. They measured it in smashed boards, in knockout victories, in the fear they were able to generate. In others, I became whatever they wanted. Faster, stronger, more destructive with each passing day in America. They christened me the Oriental Warrior, a human weapon production. Factories marketed me as unstoppable. Magazines wrote of my lightning fists. Pupils flocked to learn my secrets. But here's what haunted me. The stronger I became, the more I felt like that bucket of water, contained, bounded by sharp edges. Each new achievement turned into a jail. Each display of skill introduced an added chain. I was turning into a captive of my own renown, a prisoner of other anticipations. I saw the very same thirst in my students' eyes that I experienced, that same despicable desire to prove them and themselves to be strong, to be feared. They arrived, expecting annihilation. But what they needed was dissolution. I understand, since I walked down the identical path in chase of shadows of power, until I stumbled upon a truth that reshaped everything. This is where I started. This is where my real journey began, not learning how to fight, but in forgetting all that I knew about power. And it started with a question, one that I couldn't sleep at night. What if everything that I had done was truly keeping me from being what I could be? I was a collector of victories. Every week was a brick in a wall. I was building a wall between me and failure, between me and weakness. Every morning I woke up thinking about who I needed to impress that day. Every evening I would retire thinking about how to be better tomorrow. When you're crowned the fastest fist in the East, you can't be second fastest. When they call you the dragon, you can't allow them to see your human 100 demonstration, 100 perfect performances, no room to make a mistake, no room to doubt. The pressure wasn't so much about winning any longer. It was about being superhuman. They put me on magazine covers, called me the ambassador of Kung Fu to the West. All of a sudden, I wasn't just fighting for myself. Each match became a referendum on Chinese martial arts. Each win or loss would either uphold or shame centuries of tradition. The burden of an entire culture's hopes weighed on my shoulders. My opponents weren't just fighters anymore. They were dangers to everything I was expected to be. I made myself rules never appear. Tired, never acknowledge pain. Never show doubt. I conditioned myself to smile through fatigue, to make impossible maneuvers look effortless. The more it got, the more I had to make it seem. I wasn't just practicing drills anymore. I was practicing perfection, and this is the poison of it all. I started to believe in my own performance, started thinking that anything less than mastery was shame, that being open was weakness, that doubting was failure. I had built myself a throne of expectations, but that throne was becoming my prison. The worst part, I was teaching this same prison to my students, teaching them to chase the same ghost of perfection that was haunting me every time they addressed me Sifu, every time they gazed at me with that desperate desire to know the secret power. I felt the walls of the prison ascending. It came during a secret challenge game in my Oakland school. His opponent was expert in Northern Shaolin, skilled, respected, deadly, the type of bout that tended to satiate my hunger for affirmation. He hit me with whatever he possessed, and I returned with technical perfection, each movement precisely so, each retort in exquisite timing, a flawless win. The students stormed the aisles, another flawless show for the dragon. But as I watched, standing there, seeing my opponent bow in defeat, something snapped inside me. The victory tasted hollow, like biting into a lovely fruit and tasting ash that evening. I could not sleep. The perfection of my performance stalked me. I went to my training room, lit one candle, and began my routine meditation. But this time, something was different. Instead of focusing on my next achievement, my next demonstration of power, I found myself watching the candle flame. The flame did not try to show its heat. It did not form its light. It simply rose, and in that moment, I saw myself not witnessing what others wanted to watch, but who had become now. So was so focused on proving himself worthy that he had forgotten the act of being. I stood up and threw the same punch that I had thrown thousands of times before. But this time, I wasn't trying to prove its speed or power for the first time in years since I was a child. I punched a punch simply to myself. No feelings, no show, just pure expression. The revelation hit me. I had mastered the art of combating other. With myself, every victory had been another link in a stream of expectations. Every flawless show had deepened my prison further. I was trapped in a cycle of endless proving, performing, perfecting, never allowing myself to be in that instant alone in my training. I realized at last real mastery isn't about accumulating victories. It's about liberation from the necessity of the actual struggle. Wasn't it the way it never taught me? What 1,000 winds couldn't observe it flow. It doesn't attempt to conquer the rock yet. The largest canyon bears testimony to its strength. It doesn't try to demonstrate its power yet. Provided time, it reforms mountains. It takes no fixed shape yet. This same formlessness renders it unbreakable. I had been constructing myself into something that was unbreakable for years, but water never breaks because it never resists. It flows, adapts, transforms to put it into any shape, and it becomes that form while still being entirely itself. This is not weakness. This is the ultimate demonstration of power. The truth hit me like lightning. I had been trying to become powerful, by becoming unchangeable, by building walls, by resisting, by proving all along true power, was in the opposite direction, in becoming entirely changeable, completely responsive, completely free of the need to prove anything. Think about this paradox. The moment you try to be powerful, you become weak, because your every effort to be powerful stems from a place of weakness. It stems from a need. But when you go past this need, when you let go, the very idea of being powerful patterns, and instead learn to read energy, to sense intention, to react without thinking. No more rigid stances, no more memorized combinations. I instructed my students to be like water, to let their movements emerge from the situation itself, not from some preconceived form. The ultimate goal was not to learn 1,000 movements, but to go beyond technique entirely, to the point where your body responds without the interference of thought, without the delay of decision, not by hard discipline, but by absolute freedom, not by accumulating techniques, but by eliminating the unnecessary. This lesson was the hardest for my students. To grasp the highest form of martial arts isn't about doing more with your muscle. It's about cutting away everything that isn't needful, of removing every impediment between will and action, about getting so hollow you can hold all things, so shapeless you can fit into anything. What I learned on the battlefield in training during those quiet moments of revelation, it was never merely about fighting life itself, is our most formidable enemy, and most of us engage, and like beginner fighters, stiff resistant, always attempting to muscle through. I see it in the business man, refused to bend when his master plan dissolves in the artist who is trapped by success in the moment he goes out trying to maintain the image of perfection. We're all fighting the same battle, not against external forces, but against our own need to control, to prove to be invulnerable. Watch your own life. Where are you holding on when you should be flowing? Where are you stopping short? Instead of answering each time that you have to justify yourself, ask, ask, what are you fighting? Actually, I go through this within my own household life. Hollywood required the invincible Bruce Lee. Needed a father who was able to act, who was able to laugh, who was able to show vulnerability. My wife Linda needed a partner, not a legend. I had to work out how to exist in between these places like water, moving its shape, not by forcing, but by spontaneous reaction to what each moment demanded. When I show up on the film set today, I no longer bear the weight of being Bruce Lee. When I get into my quan to instruct, I'm not trying to uphold an image when I face a challenge. I don't react with obstruction, but with readiness to be whatever the moment asks. This is real power, not the power to have your will, but the power to be rid of the need, to exert something other than strength to overcome resistance, but the wisdom to navigate through love life, uncreating resistance. First recall the child I was describing attempting to clasp water in his fists. We are that child. We grasp power. Success at perfection, the more it seeks from between our fingers. My greatest victory was not mastering to grasp time. It was learning to open my hands completely. You see, we all begin as water, changeable pure potential. Then life instructs us to become ice, solid, unchangeable. We strongly think this hardness is power. We think this rigidity is strength. But ice can only be ice water, can be anything. I spent years of my life building walls of achievement, only to discover that true achievement is discovered in having no barriers at all. I trained to be supernatural, only to discover that. Only to discover that the greatest art is being completely natural. I desired to be outstanding, only to discover that true power lies in being precisely what every moment demands, nothing more, nothing more, nothing less. This is my message to you. Do not aspire to be powerful, aspire to be free. Don't strive to be outstanding, attempt to be honest. Don't struggle to conquer life. Learn to go with it. Your greatest adversary isn't fate or friend or inability. Your biggest enemy is your own desire to demonstrate that you have no failures, no weaknesses, no restrictions. This isn't philosophy. This isn't martial arts. This is the essence. Truth, I discovered the real mastery isn't about rising above others. It's about rising above yourself, not by force, but by freedom, not by resistance, but by release. Look within yourself. Where are your walls? Where is your ice? What would happen if you allow them to melt? This is the question. That changed me. Perhaps it shall do the same to you. Remember, be water, my friend, not because water is powerful, though it is not because water is inexorable, as it can be. Be water for water. Never tries to be something other than what it is. And in that simple truth lies the strength that can mountain.